Welcome back. So we started configuring our VS Code editor in the very beginning of the course, but now at this point we are ready to install 3 additional extensions that will make our lives a little bit easier as we code HTML and CSS. And so let's head over to our extensions panel here. And the first extension that I want to install here is called Image Preview. So it's this one, and I already have it installed. So I just need to click on Enable. Okay, so that's the first one. And what this one is going to do is that here in our HTML, it now displays the small image preview here in this gutter, as it's called. So here we have this one, and then this image here is also right here where we declare it. So where we include it in our code. And this can be extremely helpful sometimes. So that's why I really wanted to show you this one. The next one that I want to show you is called Color Highlighter or Highlight. So it's this one here. And again, I already have it installed. I just enable it. And actually this one I cannot show you yet what it looks like, because it will only be relevant in CSS. But trust me that this extension is really, really helpful for visualizing colors in CSS. Next up is an extension called Auto Rename Tag. So this one, and you see it's an extremely popular one once again. So you have to download it and enable it. And then what happens here is that when we change the name of an element, let's say we actually wanted to make this one a div, then you see it automatically also changes the closing one. So the closing tag. Okay. And this again is extremely helpful and makes our life writing HTML a bit easier, because trust me, we need to do this all the time, like changing the element name. Okay. Now, another thing that we need to do, or at least that we can do if we want, is to go back to our settings and then turn back on this setting that we deactivated at the beginning of this section. So that's the auto, let's spell that right. So auto close tag. So let's enable this back, because I think at this point you will no longer make the mistake of forgetting a closing tag. And so now we can allow VS Code to do that work for us. So for example, if we wanted to write a paragraph here, then now you see HTML automatically closed that element for us. Okay, but this we don't need. And now we are going to install the most important and the most useful one of all. And that is called Live Server. So it's this one here, Live Server with almost 12 million downloads. And this one is popular for a reason. So I just click enable here. And so when I go now to my HTML, and let's close this one down. So close down the sidebar. Now down here in this bar, we should have now this Go Live button. Okay. So hopefully after installing this Live Server extension, you can also see this button down here in this status bar. So when I now click this, then it's starting, and we get this message that server is started at this port number here. Let's close that. And you see that it opened a new tab which contains our page, right? So basically it looks exactly the same. But there is one very big difference. So let's say we want to change this here. And I'm going to call it Jonas Code. And now look closely what happens here as I save this file. So I hit Command S now, or Control S on Windows. And you see what happened? It automatically reloaded the page without us having to do anything. So all we did was save the code, and what will then happen is that this page here gets automatically updated. So all the changes that we did here will basically get injected into this page, and yeah, we can then see the reflection of our changes immediately. So I put it back now, hit again Command or Control S to save it, and immediately you see it going back to what it was before. Now, if we wanted to stop this connection once we are done developing, all we have to do is to click down here on this icon here where it says port 5500. And by the way, this port number is exactly what we have here. Okay, so just for the sake of curiosity, this one here means that it's a local host server. So basically it's like you have now a web server on your own computer running, and then we have actually this code running at this port number. And so this port, it's basically like a sub address of your web server, so of the local host server. But this doesn't really matter. What matters is that this now works, and it is really, really helpful for our development workflow. Now, if for some reason you could not make this work on your computer, then of course don't worry. So you can still do it the old way. So basically the way we have been doing it all along up until this point. So you can just open up the file from your file system like we did, and then keep refreshing it manually, right? But we right now no longer need this tab here because we now have our live connection. So we have our live server serving up this page here whenever we do some edits. All right, and with that, we are now ready to tackle our final last 2 coding challenges in this HTML fundamentals section.